Chicago's streets are alive with the sound of defiance as thousands of residents rise up in peaceful protest against Donald Trump's latest authoritarian stunt, dubbed Operation Midway Blitz. This so-called immigration crackdown, launched with the pomp and bravado of a third-rate dictator, has ignited a firestorm of resistance across the city. From the vibrant Latino neighborhoods of Pilsen and Little Village to the steps of the Broadview ICE facility, Chicagoans are sending a clear message. They will not bow to Trump's reckless, fear-mongering tactics. As the former president's physical and mental decline becomes ever more apparent, his sagging demeanor and incoherent rants on full display at recent public appearances, his desperate attempt to project strength through militarized immigration raids is crumbling under the weight of public outrage and his own incompetence. Let's be real. Donald Trump is a man clinging to the tattered remnants of his fading relevance. Once a larger-than-life figure in his own mind, he now stumbles through public events with a visibly drooping face, trembling hands, and ankles so swollen they could double as flotation devices. Medical experts, real ones, not the quacks he surrounds himself with, have speculated about everything from cardiovascular disease to mini-strokes, and it's no wonder why. The man looks like he's decomposing in real time, a walking caricature of the strongman he so desperately wants to be. Yet, in true Trump fashion, he's compensating for his physical frailty with a grotesque display of authoritarian posturing, this time targeting Chicago with his so-called Operation Midway Blitz. This operation, named with all the subtlety of a B-movie war flick, is nothing more than a thinly veiled attempt to terrorize immigrant communities while distracting from Trump's own failures. The Department of Homeland Security, under the direction of Trump's loyal lapdog, Kristi Noem, claims it's targeting criminal illegal aliens in honor of Katie Abraham, a young woman killed in a tragic hit-and-run in Illinois. But let's call this what it is, a cynical ploy to exploit a tragedy for political gain, while painting Chicago, a city with crime rates at historic lows, as a lawless wasteland overrun by gang members and rapists. The reality? Chicago's murder rate this summer was the lowest since 1965, a fact that Trump and his cronies conveniently ignore as they peddle their fear-driven narrative. The truth is, Operation Midway Blitz is less about public safety and more about Trump's bruised ego. After years of being mocked, impeached, and rejected by voters, he's desperate to flex his muscles, however flabby they may be. But Chicago isn't buying it. From the moment the operation was announced, the city's residents, organizers, and leaders have been out in force, rejecting Trump's divisive tactics and exposing his administration's incompetence. Protesters have taken to Michigan Avenue, chanting "Ice out of chai" and "Hands off Chicago," while faith leaders and community organizers rally for justice. Even Governor J.B. Pritzker, a steadfast voice of reason, has called for transparency and accountability, demanding a full accounting of the operation's actions. The operation's true colors were revealed in Franklin Park, a Chicago suburb, where an ICE agent fatally shot Silverio Villegas Gonzalez during a traffic stop gone horribly wrong. According to ICE, Villegas Gonzalez resisted arrest and drove his car into agents, dragging one a significant distance. The agent, claiming to fear for his life, opened fire, killing the 38-year-old Mexican national. The agent was injured but stabilized, while Villegas Gonzalez was pronounced dead at a local hospital. The incident, which unfolded just days into Operation Midway Blitz, has sparked outrage and raised serious questions about ICE's tactics. Let's unpack this. ICE agents, decked out in militarized gear and, in some cases, sporting Trump pins on their vests, a blatant violation of the Hatch Act, claim they were just doing their job. But when you show up to a traffic stop looking like a paramilitary unit, faces obscured by masks, and start barking orders, what do you expect? People are going to panic. Villegas Gonzalez, who had just dropped his children off at school, wasn't some hardened criminal mastermind. He was a father, a member of the community, and now he's dead, gunned down by an agency that operates with all the restraint of a rogue militia. U.S. Representative Chuy Garcia, whose district includes Franklin Park, has demanded a full investigation, including the release of all surveillance and body camera footage. The community deserves answers, not more of Trump's empty, tough-on-crime rhetoric. And those Trump pins? They're not just a fashion faux pas. They're a chilling symbol of how deeply Trump's cult of personality has infected federal agencies. Citizen journalists have documented ICE agents wearing these pins, turning a taxpayer-funded operation into a personal loyalty parade for a man who can barely string a coherent sentence together. This isn't law enforcement, it's a fan club with guns. Reports of agents wearing face coverings to avoid doxing only add to the dystopian vibe, as if they're ashamed of the very actions they're carrying out. And maybe they should be. When you're disappearing people off the streets, detaining flower vendors and pedestrians on Chicago's southwest side, you're not exactly winning hearts and minds. Chicago's response to Operation Midway Blitz has been nothing short of inspiring. From the moment the operation was announced, community organizers sprang into action, forming rapid response networks to monitor ICE activity and protect vulnerable residents. In neighborhoods like Pilsen, Little Village, and Brighton Park, advocates have urged residents to record and report ICE arrests, ensuring that any unlawful detentions are exposed. The Brighton Park Neighborhood Council and Pilsen Puño have been at the forefront, documenting agents' movements and sharing alerts about sightings near courthouses and bus stops. Despite the fear and tension, these communities are standing firm, refusing to let Trump's goons intimidate them into silence. Protests have erupted across the city, with hundreds gathering outside the Broadview ICE facility and marching through downtown Chicago. On September 12th, activists faced off with heavily armed ICE agents who fired pepper balls into the crowd in a pathetic attempt to assert dominance. But the protesters didn't back down. One demonstrator, armed with nothing but a speaker blasting Rage Against the Machine, stood their ground against an ICE agent wearing a Trump pin, capturing the moment for the world to see. This is the spirit of Chicago, unyielding, unafraid, and unapologetically defiant in the face of Trump's authoritarian tantrum. Even cultural events have become acts of resistance. Organizers of the Mexican Independence Day parade in Little Village advised vulnerable residents to stay home due to the ICE surge, but the community still plans to celebrate with flag-waving caravans, turning a moment of pride into a powerful statement against Trump's xenophobia. Meanwhile, the El Grito Festival in Pilsen is moving forward, a testament to the resilience of Chicago's Latino community in the face of federal overreach. While Trump plays warlord in Chicago, his economic policies are wreaking havoc across the country. His much-touted trade war, really just a tantrum dressed up as policy, has sent inflation soaring to 4.3%, the highest since 2021. Food prices have skyrocketed, with a 6% month-over-month increase from July to August, hammering everyday Americans at the grocery store. Manufacturing is in freefall, with activity shrinking for 6 consecutive months, and unemployed workers now outnumber job openings. The deficit? A staggering $350 billion last month alone, putting the country on track for a $2 trillion annual shortfall. This is Trump's economy, a chaotic mess of tariffs, bankruptcies, and broken promises. His Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, had the gall to claim that this economic disaster won't be Trump's economy until 2026. Really, Howard, when the GDP numbers looked decent a few months ago, you were quick to slap Trump's name on them. Now that the wheels are coming off, you're passing the buck? It's the kind of snake oil salesmanship that defines this administration, always ready to take credit for the good, never willing to own the bad. Meanwhile, trucking companies are going bankrupt, hotel occupancy is tanking, and consumer sentiment among young people is at historic lows. Trump's tariffs are squeezing household budgets, driving up prices, and pushing people toward financial ruin. And what's his response? More golf, more ballrooms, more reckless spending on vanity projects like Club Rose Garden. Let's talk about Trump's obsession with law and order. This is a man who's been convicted of 34 felonies, incited an insurrection, and peddled lies about election fraud that led to violence at the Capitol. Yet he has the audacity to lecture Chicago about crime? The hypocrisy is staggering. His administration claims Operation Midway Blitz is targeting the worst of the worst: gang members, drug traffickers, and violent criminals. But the reality is far uglier. ICE agents have been spotted detaining people for minor infractions, like selling flowers or walking on the sidewalk. These aren't hardened criminals. They're ordinary people trying to live their lives. And then there's the Charlie Kirk obsession. Trump's defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, has reportedly ordered Pentagon staff to hunt for service members who've posted anything negative about the late conservative activist. This isn't about national security. It's about purging dissent and enforcing loyalty to a man who spewed hate against black people, gay people, and anyone who didn't fit his narrow vision of America. The fact that Trump's administration is wasting resources on this nonsense while claiming to fight crime is laughable. If they want to talk about public safety, maybe they should start with the armed ICE agents firing pepper balls at peaceful protesters, or the ones gunning down fathers in broad daylight. Trump's Operation Midway Blitz isn't just a policy failure. It's a symptom of a man in decline, lashing out at a world that's moving on without him. His physical deterioration is impossible to ignore, from the trembling hands to the incoherent speeches that veer from one conspiracy theory to the next. His advisors, sensing the legal and political quagmire of a full-scale military invasion of Chicago, have reportedly convinced him to shelve plans to deploy the National Guard, for now. But don't be fooled. This is a man who thrives on chaos, who sees every protest, every act of resistance, as a personal affront to his fragile ego. Chicago, however, is bigger than Trump's tantrums. Its people are stronger than his threats. From the organizers documenting ICE abuses to the protesters standing firm outside the Broadview facility, the city is showing the world what real courage looks like. Governor Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson have made it clear they'll welcome real law enforcement support, like more FBI agents or funding for local police, but they won't stand for Trump's militarized fantasy of tanks rolling through the streets. Chicago's welcoming city ordinance, which prohibits local police from aiding ICE, remains a powerful rebuke to Trump's xenophobic agenda.